Okay, folks, a special greetings and welcome to all of you who are already locked on to the live feed that I'm producing this afternoon. In the foreground, I'm showing you a mountain in Dominica that is called Mont Eloi. To the left of that mountain, it is Mont Anglais, and to the right of that mountain, it is another mountain they call Mount Canot. So I am hedged in basically between three mountains in Dominica. You can see the lush greenery that accompanies them as well. You may be wondering, but where is that village though? I am in the beautiful village of Bellevue, Chopin at this time. And I'm about to have a discussion with a brother who called me sometime last week, a situation that he has been facing for some time in Dominica. And so I decided this afternoon to meet up with him. But before I talk to him, I just decided to give you, the view of where I am at, the view of where he is at, just before we start that conversation indeed. Also too, in the foreground as well, where I'm panning right now, it is some of the residents that were some of the Petit Savant people. They were relocated after Tropical Storm Erica. That in and out of itself is another story which we don't want to get into this afternoon. Yeah? Okay, let me now move across to the brother, as I said, Mr. Ian Harvey. Everybody knew him to be calling him Englishman. Good afternoon to you, my brother, and how are you?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Could I just call you English for the purposes of the interview?
If you're happy with that, that's fine. That's
okay,
fine.
English, Mr. Ian Harvey. Mr. Harvey, let me ask you, why are we here this afternoon, primarily?
Okay. Specifically, for the past 3 years, my wife, Miss Fontaine, and myself have been trying to, how shall I say, communicate with the authorities about certain issues that's been impacting on us. The issue themselves was bad enough, but the total failure of the authorities to acknowledge any of our communications has forced us to try and get their attention this way. We have pleaded with them. I have told them I will find another platform to reach them, and they've not acknowledged anything. Legal letters, petition, complaint letters, emails over a period of 3 years. So this is why we're here today.
And what is that complaint primarily you have been complaining about for several years?
Okay, when we bought the land in 2008, Bellevue, Chopin was just the village on the hillside. Since they started to develop the area, there's been no problem. But there was a government building located in the middle of the village, and this seems to have been run as a, how shall I say, a private enterprise.
Okay.
And it's been generating a lot of noise. And worse than that, it's encouraged noise from other sources in the village that we didn't have before, and a lot of outside noise coming in.
So your real complaint basically is about a noise situation that has gone unattended for some time.
And it's got worse. It's not a question of just having a bit of noise in the village, someone playing music or a social event. These are individuals using, how shall I say, positions of authority or connections to run and operate events and bars that do not have any regard for any of the local residents, and which the local residents have no means of addressing at all. And it's just not noise, it's basically being deprived of sleep for 24 hours or more because of noise levels that make your home uninhabitable. You can't have conversation, you can't watch TV. You couldn't do this to people in jail. It would be humane and illegal. But in Bellevue, they do this on a regular basis. Either big events or just individuals making noise.
Wow. Wow. Well, we will get to that in just a bit in terms of the gravity of some of the noise that you have been subjected to for the past years, I must say. But give us an idea. You're from the United Kingdom, your wife from Dominica.
Yeah.
Just set up that linkage for us, please, and your type of investment that brought you here.
My dad's from Trinidad, but I was born and grew up in England. My wife is Frances Fontaine. We've been married 35 years, something like that. In '96, I came to Dominica for the first time, and I just suggested to a local doctor, if he was ever selling land, let me know.
Okay.
And in 2007, he told us, and so we bought this plot of land. And in 2015, we designed a home and started building. Now, we were going to build a boutique hotel, and this is partly where we were going to build a boutique hotel, but we were told, quite amazingly, that we weren't to be trusted and that Dominica did not need our money. So following that rejection, we just built a family home.
You said you were told.
Yes.
Be a little more specific. Okay. Who basically suggested or told you those words?
We were advised to do a business proposal. I do business plans. We spent 3 months. We did a detailed business proposal for a boutique hotel, submitted it to the IDA, and 3 months later, when I was ready to start building and I asked for a response, I was told in a one-to-one meeting, no communications formal of course, that basically, as I said, our investment was not needed. I have to say that general attitude of being dismissive, the higher up the hierarchy of authority we went, the more dismissive, the more rude I found a lot of the individuals we were dealing with. And that seems to be part of the problem that we're having now with relation to the noise in our business.
So in hindsight, English, do you think back then when you were told those words that sort of should raise a red flag, should have raised a red flag in your mind, that your money was not needed?
But then I didn't depend on their judgment to make my decisions. I just found it rude and insulting for no reason whatsoever. But it did raise a red flag as to if you don't have contacts, if you don't have connections, and you're not part of the system, your investment seems to be seen as a second-class investment. And if it clashes with the agendas of people with authority, whatever people's agendas are, that you are unable to do anything about it.
Okay. Can you give us the scope of the investment that you made in terms of the monies part of it?
Okay.
And what type of business it is?
Okay. So let me, as I said, we were going to do a business, a hotel. It was rejected. So what we've done is build a family home. Okay. It's just a normal family home. But with Maria, then COVID, which cost us 3.5 years, time, money, we have to earn some money. So we rent out space in the house, basically. We use Airbnb, and I have a website. But it's not a formal business. It's a form of income that I bring in after the investment, which was basically our lifetime savings. Over the 9 years, I'd say we've spent about £400,000, and I reckon about 300 on the house and the rest of it. Okay. So it's been not insignificant, but I know that the authorities deal with much larger sums of money, so this might seem small.
It's sizable enough for a man of your ilk.
Yeah.
Okay, so you decided to invest your money here. Where did this trouble, should I say, all started? When did you realize? When did it become sort of, unbearable in terms of the noise coming through from here, there, and everywhere?
One of the issues we had as well was what was acceptable and what was unbearable. The noise started when the plaza opened in March 2021. By June the 1st, I had sent a letter of complaint to the Chief of Police and the Lottery Commission. The bars were making noise to till 3 in the morning, karaoke, all kinds of noise. Anyway, so this happened for 6 months, and then big events started. Remember when they had the COVID, when they brought the lockdown?
Yes.
The day before the COVID lockdown, they had a big motorcycle event here. And the next day they brought in COVID. And if you look at the numbers, it had gone from 0 to 1,000 in that week leading up to it. And that was when it really started kicking off here in terms of noise.
Okay.
Because anything went then. So,
Okay.
yeah. So, and then we just had big live bands playing till 6 in the morning, regularly, bars opening until 5 o'clock. Passing traffic, using it as an outdoor sort of venue. People leave at 3 or 4 in the morning as if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's constant. At one point you could have noise 24 hours being imposed on you without any way of getting away from it.
You were giving me the scenario or the situation where some of your people who paid to stay by you, stay in your business for some time, they basically had to pack up and go.
I had one group, I had a group here, a couple left, went and stayed with friends, and the rest of them, this is just one of a number of events. And we spent the night sitting here with a 2-year-old child here, and no one could sleep until they'd finished till 7 in the morning. I mean, it was just ridiculous trying to have a conversation in my living room at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you couldn't do it. People have had to leave. I've had to compensate people for sleepless nights and having to leave. Cancellation. So that is just a consequence of a situation that shouldn't have been allowed to happen in the first place.
Yeah.
But yes, that's been painful.
Yeah, and in terms of the attempts now to sort of meet with the authorities concerned so that they could address that problem, what were some of the attempts that you made?
Okay. Starting from the 1st of June, when I sent the letter to the Lottery Commission and the Chief of Police, I've done multiple.
June of when?
June 21.
21, okay.
Yeah. I sent emails. I followed the process for complaining in Dominica as I was advised, starting with the local council, the PAR rep, environment. Then I went to the Chief of Police. I went to the local police, reported it on a weekly basis. I went to the police station, made a complaint. I've continued to report it just as a matter of record for the next 3 years. I sent emails to all the associated parties, council and so on. On the 1st of January 2022, we wrote the Prime Minister, and he called the following day on a Sunday morning at 9:30 just to acknowledge receipt of the letter. And that is the only occasion in 7 years that anyone in authority has actually acknowledged our communications and the issues raised, and that was the Prime Minister. No one else has ever sent us a formal acknowledgement of our issues. Since then, I've made a petition. I've signed by 50 people. That was taken to the PARET, Office of Prime Minister, and the Office of National Security. They refused to accept it. When they did take the petition, they would not give us an acknowledgement for it. My wife has written to the Prime Minister, never acknowledged, actively refused to acknowledge it. So, yeah, letters, personal letters have never been acknowledged.
And you were giving me some instance whereby you even dropping of these petitions and other forms of communication, the type of treatment that were meted out, the type of treatment that was meted out to you.
Yeah.
You want to speak to that?
Okay. One of the things I've found here, I've been here representing for my wife. She lost her eyesight and she had to go back to England, and she delayed coming back because of the situation. And the intimidation she felt from her experience and my experience of taking and sending stuff to, for example, the Office of Prime Minister. The gentleman refused to take the petition, basically tried to, I feel, intimidate me into not submitting it. In the end, he took the petition, but none of the paperwork, and has never acknowledged our attempts to get a receipt or acknowledgement of the petition or any other documentation. We took it to the Office of National Security. The Secretary took it, but I've never received an acknowledgement for it, though we requested it several times. My wife sent a personal letter to the Prime Minister, And as far as I understand, the secretary actively refused to acknowledge it, hanging up the phone on me. So this has been happening. Local police, senior police, I've written to them several times. They did an investigation where they went up the hill and found no noise, but it turned out the investigation hadn't involved interviewing me, though that was the impression given to their superiors. So my wife found that very intimidating. I've gone to the PAR rep and had a meeting with the PAR rep, forced a meeting, and he spoke, how shall I say, I'm not a stupid person, but he spoke to me as if I was someone who was a bit dense and I would accept any rubbish that they said. But I've been here 7 years and I know the personalities involved, the people involved, the decision-making process, have the evidence, the research, the experience. So that was very tiring listening to them talk BS to me. It's intimidating. It intimidates my wife, it intimidates villagers, and it just irritates the hell out of me. Because they're hiding in their offices and they won't talk, they won't say nothing, and yet they know that they're upsetting people.
Wow. And there was the situation, a meeting with the police that you had.
Yeah.
Just run that through for us, please, in terms of what went on there.
I said I had received no communications, but then the local council informed me by email that the police had done the investigation and found no noise. So I was trying to force an interview, but I couldn't get anything through. So in the end, I met the superintendent in Granby and a couple of her senior officers.
Okay.
And I made my case and they explained to me why I was wrong, basically. But it turned out that the investigation, did I mention this before? Have I mentioned that? They had an investigation and the officer basically lied about interviewing me. But I didn't know this until I spoke to the superintendent. And that then started making things more clear to me. The police provide security for the events that we are complaining about. So, yeah, you have to come to accept in the end that everything's connected, basically. Sure. And once you do that, you either,
So is it you alone complaining,
no,
Miss Harvey?
No, initially people did not want to complain, and there was a lot of denial about it. But as it got worse and worse, it affected more and more people, no matter how far you were. So I know people have rang the police. I've rang the police at least 100 times over the 3 years, and I know lots of other people have called, but there's no recognition, no, as far as I know, formal record of this. I just keep the record on my phone. Sorry, what was the question?
So yeah, I was just asking you about the police in terms of the number of times that you made contact.
Over three, let's say an average of every 3 weeks, 2 weeks, that's 25 times. So that's at least 75 times over the last 3 years.
Wow.
And I know it's more than that.
Wow.
And this includes visits to the headquarters in Roseau, who are polite, and most of them are, the higher up you go, but the less effectual they are.
True.
The more ineffectual they are, the higher up you go. And that's because people have agendas, which I don't care about, but once they start imposing sexually implicit music on my family and children and the whole community, well, I'm getting angry now.
Yeah. As we're on that point, give us an idea of the type of music, the language that is being
anything that they want to play. Yeah, and I know there's been an issue about sexually explicit language. So it's the volume, the bass, and the content.
Okay.
Each of them on their own, isolated, is a pain in the arse. But when you put them together, it is, well, they know it's illegal in the first place, but they wouldn't do that to anyone. Yeah, it's not very prestigious here, but it's beautiful. And people are coming here from abroad. Biochemists, CEOs, fund managers, they're coming and staying here, and they're being driven away from the highway, from shops, because of the nature of the music and the general atmosphere that they're helping to create here now. So, yeah.
So in terms of the timing of those activities, give us an idea, a rough idea, from how long to how long do those music go on,
Last
and you
Saturday.
have to be
Okay.
bombarded with this.
It's happened. Last Saturday they had an event. Fete. What is it?
It's Fête Freddy.
Fete Freddy.
The what's it called? In English it is translated to the cold fete,
Okay.
or the cold time fete.
That's amusing. But yeah, that started. They set everything up. Friday afternoon, evening, 6 till gone 12. They were playing at full blast. And then on Saturday afternoon, they started at 4 p.m. until 6:45 in the morning. I know people phoned the police and everything, but we were told that because the authorities have okayed it, they can pretty much do what they want. And by the authorities, they mean the police, the pilot, whoever. So that went on for 18 hours. Then after the 18 hours, a couple of the local bars carried on.
Okay.
My wife just returned, and after 28 hours, I went down to one of the bars and just asked them to turn the music down. And I had to do the gauntlet of walking past people, basically just trying to intimidate me and insulting me about colour, my investment, mentioning my wife. Now the police should be doing that, of course, and I've done that many, many times over 3 years. But I think that's another thing that pushed me over the edge. Wherever you go, whether it's thugs on the street, you go to an office and you get the same attitude all the way down. I'm just really, it's not nice. But yeah, it's.
I'm going to ask you something personal, Miss Harvey. Do you regret? Do you have any regrets making that investment?
No, Dominica is amazing. My family come here, my friends come here, and absolutely not. But I think certain people in authority have to understand now that they're attracting people from abroad and returnees who've got children, educated children. They have certain standards, and just because a few guys want to make some money and develop the nighttime economy and attract a certain clientele, they're not going to be able to do that, because my daughters, for a start, wouldn't take that being broadcast into their home. And they can diss me and they can do this with me, but these young people wouldn't have that, and they would be embarrassed into not doing it. So I don't have no regrets. My girls come here, they can walk the streets, it's safe, it's beautiful, there's a sense of freedom, there's no intimidation. I'll let my daughters walk around with the same guys who are making noise. I'll leave my daughters and they'll walk around and spend an evening chatting and talking to them. And this is the problem. Collectively, they've been empowered by the authorities to act in a certain way, that if they didn't have that, they're just normal. It wouldn't happen. So no, I have no regrets. My wife was a bit intimidated because she was a bit skeptical about coming here. Some people talk about islands like this, like they're a banana republic, but it's not. The problem is a few individuals treat parts of it as if it is a banana republic, and that is the problem. So I have no regrets, but I regret taking all this bullshit from certain individuals in authority. I should have stood up sooner.
Have you introduced a lawyer in the picture? Have you gone to a lawyer to...
I had a lawyer write the chief of police, asking questions about the case, and do they have special dispensation? What's the reasoning behind allowing this to happen? Never received any acknowledgement.
Did he cite the Noise Abatement Act?
I'm pretty sure we did. I think the lawyer said and made reference to, and I've made reference to it. Okay. It's not very long, I've read it, and it's quite straightforward. Microphones, amplifiers, speakers shouldn't be heard after 10, 11 o'clock. One person complained, the police deal with it. It's as simple as that. It's quite clear. People act as if there is no Noise Abatement Act. It's just that they have all the laws, no one will enforce it. So yes, I didn't hear from the police, and I haven't heard from them any other time either.
But I'm getting from you, Mr. Harvey, just putting myself now in the mind and mood of the people making the noise. They would say, but we have this activity, the police sanctioned it, basically the police are there even providing security. What is Mr. Harvey complaining about?
Right, well, first of all, I'd say to the police chief, would you sanction that outside your house? Have you not got children? Have you not got a family? All this power rep, they all don't live here and they're sanctioning it. Also, I'm pretty sure when the police give the authority for something to extend, it means you can sell alcohol for a couple of hours more. It doesn't mean you can play your music as loud as you like, for as long as you like, when you like. But I may be wrong, I'm not a lawyer. But yes, so it's sanctioned by the police, and that's my complaint. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be allowing bars to broadcast sexually explicit language to children. Yeah, and just because they say it's okay, it doesn't mean it's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the law is pretty clear on that anyway. The reason they do it here is that they've had no resistance and no one knows about or cares about Bellevue. And so they do it. And if they were so righteous, why not just answer my emails and my correspondence and meet me and explain exactly that to me? They don't. They support each other, so the pirate can have an event all night, police get paid for it. Look, everybody who wants to use it to make a for-profit event can call it fake whatever, come down here, have 50 people attend and say it's a great success. Yeah, but the whole village was up for 28 hours.
Have you any recorded or recordings of what we are talking about?
Yes, been recording it for a few years. If I can just put one on.
Yes, please. Can you please share with us one or two in terms of what you have recorded?
Well, this is the event that was held after I spoke to the power rep and he told me there was nothing he could do about anything. Maybe I think get the sound there. Yeah. So let's have a look. Hold on. Hold on. That's what we hear.
So that's one. Do you have another, just in case?
That was the one. That was 7:20 in the morning, by the way.
7:20 in the morning.
It started 6:20 in the evening, and that was 7:20 in the morning.
Wow.
And it was louder than that during the night. That's a compilation one. Yeah, hold on a sec.
And you said that was
10 to 5 this last Saturday.
Saturday gone.
Yeah, and that was 18 hours of that.
Wow.
Until it finished. The other one went on for 12 hours and it's been on average once every 3 months we've had things like that.
Yeah.
And then you have the bars, not as loud, but just as you can't sleep.
Sure.
So yeah.
Sure.
These are all posted on social media. I'll give you the link to that one.
Okay.
But
yeah. So as we bring it to a wrap, Mr. Harvey, who or what do you attribute your situation to in terms of the noise that you have been subjected to? Who in your mind you think is not picking up the slack or doing their job, as it were? I heard you said everything is well connected, but who do you attribute the blame to?
Individuals who have a certain level of authority or connections to. There seems to be a demographic of men of a certain age who have this authority and connections. They believe they can make money from the nighttime economy.
Okay.
And Bellevue, they're trying to develop that idea.
Okay.
In the last year, economically, I think it's forced things to get quieter, but I myself personally believe it's having an impact on the mainstream economy. So yeah, it's individuals, a few individuals with a bit of authority who don't have no restraining hand on them, because no one really knows. Most people don't know about the plaza in Bellevue. So people, I would say it's about 0.3% of the population generating the noise in the nighttime economy here, and it's being imposed on women, children, old people, and even though they don't generate much of an income themselves from what I can see, it is having a very negative impact on the quality of life and other people's opportunity to make money. You said earlier, just because it's endorsed by the police and the power rep, yeah, but they don't have the interests of people really at hand. I don't believe so, not my own experience. So, yeah, I think it's just a general attitude that allows things to develop. I don't think they mean to bully people. It's just a manifestation of the way they run things, just the way it is.
And just to be clear before we wrap, Mr. Harvey, you are not suggesting or saying here that you don't want the young people that you mentioned to make money, right?
Right.
It's just that what they're doing to make money is affecting you and others. And there's supposed to be some sort of balance.
Yeah, and I have no problem with people making money, but that doesn't mean that it gives them the right to impose themselves on everybody else because they have a right to make money. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. And a lot of these people, the bars, when you see them, they're empty. They're playing loud music, but they're not generating a profit or money as I would understand it. So no, you have events that the community and everyone agrees is part of the calendar. See, I don't even want to get into a discussion. I'm not telling people what to do. What I'm telling them is don't impose on everybody else's homes. That's all.
Sure.
Don't impose on anybody else's homes. I'm not having a question of what people do, how they make their money. It's none of my business. But once they start imposing on the family, once they start insulting us, once they start treating us like this, then no, I don't accept that as a side effect of them making money. No, I don't.
In terms of you complaining like that, did you receive any threats? Have any threats been made to you in terms of?
Not to me, but my wife sees it when the state refuses to acknowledge you. That's intimidating, and she's Dominican.
Okay.
So me myself, I walk in the streets coming home after I've asked someone to turn the music down, and I get the usual intimidation,
Yeah.
negative comments, references to your background and the rest of it. And but I'm not creating trouble. I walk away, but they are arseholes.
Wow, strong language. But it is what it is in terms of your emotion.
It is what it is.
Yeah. You said earlier that you have no regrets investing here. Would you advise friends, family, or persons who visit your place, guests,
Yeah.
to invest in Dominica?
I had people who came here with me who were looking to invest, and when they saw how my efforts were responded to, they didn't. And these were people who had money in serious investment. I would, but with a couple caveats.
Okay.
You need to be very independent. You can't expect the usual kind of. Don't expect help, and if you get it, that's good. Yeah. It's a good place to invest, and it's a great place to live. And I have no complaints about Dominica, the people, or the governance in general. It's just this one area that I think affects people all over the island. The way it's been handled is reflective of a certain abusive position, I would suggest.
In terms of your how should I put it? In terms of how it's affecting you and your wife, your health, sleepless nights, anything along those lines you want to talk about?
Yeah, it's been hell. You go to, when it was bad, it was bad. You might get up Friday morning, once I didn't sleep till Sunday morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you don't know when it was going to happen, how loud it would be, when it would end. Who else might join in? It was totally random, happened most weekends, and then as they got away with it, more bars joined in. Okay. So yes, it wrecks your health, it wrecks the quality of your life. I have to explain to people who come here it's why men broadcasting details of their sexual proclivities into the highway, why that isn't normal Dominican culture. Yeah, it's embarrassing and demeaning to have to hear people hear words, and people know what I'm talking about, to have that imposed on you on a Saturday afternoon or any time while you're walking the streets on holiday. Words that these people would never have heard in their life except when they got to Dominica.
I remembered you telling me about what's alleged to be gunfire that you and your wife heard. Can you speak to that before you wrap?
My sister was here.
And how you compared it.
Okay. My sister was here with her husband, the doctor, and she was here for 3 weeks, 2 weekends. And this was when it was really reaching a peak in Bellevue. And the 2 weekends she was here, she heard more bullets being fired in Bellevue than she's heard in her entire life in Dominica, in London. One point I found her husband, the doctor, standing up at the back door with the front door with a hammer. Someone had turned their music on and he thought someone had kicked in the front door.
Wow.
And he rushed out there with a hammer and I found it. I said, "What are you doing?" He said he thought someone was banging in the door. That's how loud the music was. And they had that for the 2 weekends they were there. And the gunfire started off over there and gradually got closer. A bullet went through the window in the plaza down there and into the roof of the plaza. So we complained and that stopped because I think the police realised that that was quite serious.
Okay.
So the gunfire stopped, but that's how bad it was getting. Like it was like in the Wild West, just firing bullets in the air.
Wow.
So, and this is what happens if you don't have no standards.
Yeah. Mr. Harvey, I'm not in your situation. I'm not in this situation, but I feel your pain, and I can only hope, brother, that because of you speaking this afternoon, something positive would come out of it. Any final thoughts, sir?
I just want to live in peace here. I want to be able to go to bed when I want to sleep and get up and wake up when it's just asking for the rest of the village as well. Yeah, we've come here. When I came here, it was such a quiet place. I know things develop and progress, but what we've been through is totally unnecessary. It looks bad for Dominica, and I don't like to see my wife and family screwed up. So basically, yeah, just allow natural, normal Dominica life, not this nighttime economy. Normal Dominica life is perfect. Yeah, so we just want a bit of peace for everyone. I want my people to feel safe when they come here.
Mr. Harvey, I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And hope that things works out itself for the better.
Yeah. Well, my daughters will be soon here, and they're a different force altogether. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Anyway, we ended the discussion with a smile on your face. Hope that smile continues.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for who is listening. I hope I haven't bored you too much. And,
no, it's your story. Yeah. It's your story, and nobody can tell your story better than you. You feel the pain, and so the Dominican public, both here and abroad, they really need to know what is going on in the country, especially if, just in case, they need to come and invest in Dominica.
And it's not reflective of Dominica. It's an aspect of Dominica they need to sort out because it has an enormous impact. That's all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Havey.
Thank you, sir.
All right.